1981, a benefits consultant in Philadelphia found a loophole in the American tax code. He wasn't trying to change how an entire country retires. He was just trying to help one company pay its executives a little more tax-free money. That loophole became the 401k, and today it is the backbone of retirement for over 60 million Americans. Here's the uncomfortable part. It was never designed to be that. Not a national retirement system, not a replacement for a pension, just a side benefit that got adopted so widely, so quickly, that it accidentally became the main plan for millions of people who had no idea they were part of an experiment. And the experiment is still running. So if you have a 401k, if your employer matches your contributions, if you check that account balance and feel a small sense of relief, this video is going to complicate that feeling. Not to scare you, to show you what's actually happening underneath the number on your screen. Because the account was never the promise. It was always just the container. And containers, no matter how well designed, don't fill themselves. Let's start with why this matters right now. For most of the 20th century, retirement in America worked differently. Companies offered pensions. You worked for a company for decades, and in return, the company promised you a fixed monthly paycheck for the rest of your life after you retired. The risk sat with the employer. If the stock market crashed, that wasn't your problem. The company still owed you that check. Then, starting in the 1980s, that risk quietly moved. The 401k didn't get sold to the public with fanfare. It spread because it was cheaper for companies. A pension is a permanent financial promise sitting on a company's books as a long-term liability for decades. A 401k is not. Once a company puts money into your account, its job is done. Whatever your account grows into or shrinks into is now entirely your responsibility. Within about 2 decades, the majority of large American employers had quietly walked away from pensions, not with an announcement, just with a slow substitution, one hiring cycle at a time, until an entire generation entered the workforce assuming the 401k was simply what retirement looked like. That's the visible problem. Most people assume a 401k is a retirement plan. It's actually a retirement account, and there's a massive difference between the two. A plan implies a guaranteed outcome. An account is just a container. What ends up inside it depends on decisions you may not even know you're making. Decisions about risk, timing, and cost that were quietly handed to you without instructions. So how does the system actually work? Every paycheck, a percentage of your income gets pulled out before you ever see it. It goes into investments, usually a mix of stocks and bonds, chosen from a menu your employer picked for you. Many employers add a match, meaning they contribute additional money, often described as free money, and technically it is. But here's the mechanism most people never look at closely: fees. Every 401k charges fees, usually described as an expense ratio. It sounds small, 0.5%, 1%, numbers that feel irrelevant, buried in a document most people never read past the first page. They are not irrelevant. A 1% annual fee doesn't just cost you 1% of your balance each year. Because fees compound the same way growth does, that 1% can quietly consume roughly a quarter of your total retirement savings over a 35-year working career. Not because anyone did anything dishonest, just because compounding works in both directions, for you and against you, and very few people are taught to notice the second one. There's a second hidden cost too: inertia. Most people are automatically placed into a default investment option when they join a plan, and most never change it, not because it's the right choice for them, but because changing it requires a decision nobody trained them to make. The system counts on that inertia. It's built into the design. Many of these default options are called target date funds, designed to automatically shift from stocks to bonds as you get older. They're convenient. They're also generic, built for an average person who statistically doesn't exist, applied to millions of individuals with wildly different circumstances, incomes, and timelines. Now follow the money further. Who actually benefits from the 401k system as it exists today? Financial institutions, asset managers, companies like Fidelity, Vanguard, and BlackRock manage trillions of dollars sitting inside retirement accounts. Even a tiny fee, multiplied across tens of millions of accounts, becomes an enormous, stable revenue stream. not from picking winning stocks, just from managing the money that's already there year after year, regardless of performance. This isn't a conspiracy, it's simply an incentive, and incentives shape systems more than intentions do. Employers benefit too, in a quieter way. Offering a 401k match is often cheaper than a pension would have cost, while still looking like a generous benefit on a job offer. Wall Street benefits from a steady, predictable inflow of money every 2 weeks from paychecks, regardless of what the market is doing that day. That predictable flow of capital, arriving automatically, is part of why the broader stock market has grown so reliant on ordinary retirement savings as a source of fuel. So who pays? You do, specifically through something most people underestimate completely, the assumption that you know how to manage your own retirement. Choosing the right mix of investments, adjusting risk as you age, avoiding panic selling during a crash, understanding fees, knowing when to increase contributions. None of this is taught in most American schools, yet the entire 401k system assumes ordinary people will make these decisions correctly, alone, for 40 years straight, with no professional guidance built into the process. Compare that to a pension system, where professional fund managers made these decisions for everyone, spreading risk across an entire company or even an entire industry, absorbing the shock of a bad market so individual workers never had to feel it. Now, here's the myth versus reality. The myth: if you contribute to your 401k, you're saving for retirement. The reality: contributing is only step one. Whether that money actually becomes a secure retirement depends on fees, market timing, how long you stay employed, whether you cash it out early when you switch jobs, and whether the market happens to be up or down in the specific years you retire. That last part matters more than people realize. Two people can contribute the exact same amount over their careers and retire with dramatically different outcomes, simply because one retired the year after a market crash and the other didn't. Economists call this sequence of returns risk. It has nothing to do with effort or discipline. It's closer to timing and luck, and almost nobody explains it to first-time savers. Now, zoom out. Roughly a third of American private sector workers don't have access to any employer retirement plan at all. For them, this entire system isn't even an option. And among those who do have a 401k, many contribute too little, either because they can't afford more or because no one ever explained why the amount matters as much as it does. Meanwhile, pensions, the old system that guaranteed a fixed income, have largely disappeared from the private sector. Not because they failed, because they were expensive for companies to maintain, and the 401k offered an exit that looked, on paper, like empowerment. So the shift wasn't really about giving workers more control. It was about moving risk off corporate balance sheets and onto individual households, one paycheck at a time, dressed up as freedom of choice. That's the retirement illusion. Not that 401ks are useless. They're not. Used well, understood early, and managed with intention, they can absolutely build real wealth. The illusion is the assumption baked into the name itself, that having one automatically means you're prepared. It doesn't. It means you've been handed a tool, and the outcome depends entirely on how well you understand it, how early you started, and how much of it quietly disappears into fees you were never really taught to notice. So here's the question worth sitting with. If an entire generation is retiring based on a system that was never actually designed to guarantee their retirement, what happens when that generation finds out, not at 25, but at 65, with far fewer years left to fix it?